Thanks for joining us for the Long Island Sound podcast. Each week we explore new music and dive deeper with the artists and their stories behind the music. Please subscribe and rate and review us wherever you stream this podcast. Here's your host, Steve Yusko.
In this episode, we catch up with Robert Bock of the Locksmiths. The Locksmiths have a new EP. We're going to feature 2 songs and talk about what Robert and his wife are doing. Let's have a listen to Two Hands.
There's only so much I can do. I've only got 2 hands. They're covering up the cracks that are showing and drawing up new plans. 'Cause your words don't hold much water. I'm still working on the dam. There's only so much I can do. I've only got 2 hands. Just because you made a list of all the lists you're gonna make don't mean I'm gonna read it. And just because you brought a nasty habit home don't mean I'm gonna feed it. You've got days full of hours ahead. Why waste your time counting minutes? 'Cause this moment's gonna pass you by if you ain't living in it. There's only so much I can do. I've only got 2 hands. They're covering up the cracks that are showing and drawing up new plans. 'Cause your words don't hold much water. I'm still working on the dam. There's only so much I can do. I've only got 2 hands. I watch you shrug off all your blessings and sit still despite the congregation's clapping. Don't you know that worrying is just how people pray for what they don't want to happen? So don't atone for saying sorry. Take a breath and watch it shape what it's applied to. 'Cause I know that when this all blows over, I'll be standing there beside you.
I guess it's your turn to be fragile. I guess it's your turn to be lost. Tell who you need, 'cause bad news never waits for a good time.
And I can't help it when a dissident voice is trembling more than mine. I've only got 2 hands.
Hey, everybody, I'm really excited about today's guest, Robert Bock from the Locksmiths. Robert was an early guest on the Long Island Sound podcast. We learned about how he develops his music, their music, and he came out with 2 more songs. So I thought it was about time that we catch up and see what's happening with the Locksmiths. Hey, good to have you on the program, Robert. Great to see you.
Thanks so much, Stephen. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell me, what's been going on in your life and in the music world?
Man, it's been very busy. We had another baby.
Congratulations.
I'm trying to remember like if the last time we spoke was before December.
Right.
But yeah, we had another baby, and we started putting out some music. We have a new EP coming out August 4th that we've released some singles for. Yeah, and we're very excited about it.
So what's going to be on that EP? Are you going to have more than a couple songs, like 2 or 3 songs, or how's it going to be set up?
It's going to be about 6 songs.
Oh, okay.
So all the songs are covers of our friends' tunes. Our friends wrote these songs and have released them, and it's a covers EP of our friends' tunes.
Oh, that's nice. Give them some exposure as well, right?
Yeah.
So we heard coming into the podcast one of your songs, Two Handz, Handz. Tell me about when that was developed.
So that one is written by my friend Chris Q. Murphy, a song that he put out on one of his albums. And so the way the whole album kind of has come together was at the beginning of the pandemic. I just kind of hit like a writer's block, and I wasn't able to really like write. And I've always had this idea of wanting to put out a covers album of my friends' songs, like
okay,
not
cool.
about covering their tunes. So Two Handz was one that Chris wrote that I've really been a fan of, that I've enjoyed. So it was one of the ones that I kind of envisioned kind of switching up the style and trying to like put my own little spin on it.
Now, how would you say your spin on it contrasted with the original recording?
Well, one idea that I had was I wanted to make it. Well, I mean, the song already kind of had like a lot of soul to it, but I wanted to like really tap into like the syncopations, and I wanted to add some horns and really kind of flesh out the sound and like make it sound like a bigger, more, I don't know, explosive performance.
Cool. And did you get feedback from your buddy on?
Oh yeah, he was a big fan of it. Yeah, we actually we played the Porch Stomp Festival on Governor's Island in June, and during his set, we both performed the song together, which was a really nice moment.
That's nice. You know, when you can do a cover and put your own style and sing it in your key and stuff, it's kind of neat. Kind of really broadens things out, you know, as far as how a song can be heard. You know, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I mean, it's nice when, I mean, I do a lot of, you know, playing covers at like, you know, gigs and stuff like that, of like, you know, big names like covers. But when you can like do one of your friends' tunes and like kind of, you know, try to make it your own and like, you know, give it its own inflection, and, you know, I think you're honoring their song as well as, you know, trying to put your own little spin on it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was at the Great South Bay Music Festival out here on the island in Patchogue, and I was walking with another musician, and we were just about to go to the stage where there was a tribute band going there, and it was funny. It really came under, I won't say who it is, but it came under his craw as far as he recognized how people duplicate, you know, the exact riffs and stuff like that of the original tune, but it also, he was disheartened by the lack of imagination and improvisation, you know, where people do the exact cover exactly the way the original artist did it. And I found that really interesting, you know, his perspective on that. You know, it seemed like very narrow guardrails. So I do like it when an artist will take a song and put their own spin on it, or enhance it, or just do it in a different style or a different tempo. I think that's what's great about music, and you're kind of freed up with that, you know.
I agree. I think, I mean, there's definitely also a skill set to people who will try and, you know, duplicate precisely, you know, the way an artist did it. Like, I went to go see the Fab Four one time, and they're like infamous for like trying to get like the exact sound of, you know, the Beatles recordings and stuff, which is like really cool, especially, you know, when you can't actually go see the Beatles play, but you know, it's like the next best thing.
Right. It's, you know, and I'm reading this book by Rick Rubin. It's really great. My daughter got it for me. It's called The Creative Act. And, you know, one of the things that he points out is, hey, you know what? Jimi Hendrix does the best Jimi Hendrix, you know, and you know, Stevie Vai does the best Stevie Vai. And, when you approach it from a tribute band to say, hey, you know what, the Allman Brothers did the best Allman Brothers, and anything else is going to be second best, if at all. And it is a compliment to their music. But this particular band that we were walking up to was an Allman Brothers cover band. And he goes, how ironic that the Allman Brothers, who were so innovative and had so much expression, are being covered, exactly the same. We were walking up and he's like, he's playing the same exact lead that Dickie Betts plays. He goes, he was like, So I give you a lot of kudos for approaching it that way. I think it's a good way to keep the art and the music kind of going. So, so what do you got? I guess things are really percolating as far as you're doing a lot of playing and stuff. Must be tough with, what do you have, 3 kids, right?
Yeah.
3 kids and everything else going on in your life. How do you fit the gigs in? I don't know. Must be challenging.
They are few and far between right now, especially with, a baby.
Sure.
So a lot of it has been dedicated to, a lot of the music stuff has mostly been like, putting out the recordings and kind of like reaching out, musically when you can't like physically, actually be out there.
Now, I got to ask you a question as far as how do you approach the recording process? Are you laying down all the tracks? I don't remember if we've covered this before. Or are you getting more into the production and mixing it and that sort of thing? What was your approach on these past 2 songs that the one that we heard and the one we're about to hear?
So for this EP, because the whole thing was started around the height of the pandemic, I knew getting people together to actually do the recordings was going to be very problematic and not really possible. Mm-hmm. So I downloaded this program called BandLab onto my phone.
Okay.
And I was using that as sort of, it's got like a little mix, it like records and is a little mixer, sorry. And so I was recording into the device, into my phone, and then kind of like mixing from there. Oh, and then I would be reaching out to my friends, who've played different parts, like, trombone player, Sean McCabe, or a pedal steel player, Mike Robinson. And, I would write to them and be like, hey, here's the song, here's what I have so far, and not really fleshed out. It's like bare bones. And I'm like, can you add, a part to this? And they would email me the track, and then I'd like download it and put it into the BandLab on my phone. And from there I would like mix and kind of EQ everything and put it all together.
It's that's a nice way to an ingenious way to collaborate, and to be honest with you, it's really generous of an artist to do that, to say, hey, you put the spice on it. Maybe it's out of necessity. I don't know. Maybe I'm throwing too much at you, but
well, I mean, there's definitely limitations to what we're all capable of.
Right.
I can't play any horn instruments or pedal steel, and but I also have been reached out to people who are in my band and my friends and saying like, hey, I want you to be a part of this. What can you add to this? And they all want to be on board. So
nice. So tell me about After the Flood, and let's we'll let our audience have a listen to it. But tell me how that kind of came about.
So After the Flood is a song written by my friend Karen Dahlstrom, who is another brilliant songwriter. She put it out on her EP, No Man's Land. I can't remember how long ago, but it was one of the songs of hers that I like completely fell in love with. Both her and Chris are also members of the Big City Folk community that I'm a part of. So it's nice, like we get together every once in a while for our song clubs, and you get to hear like their new songs. And from there, that was one of the songs that she had played, and I was like, oh my gosh, the song is incredible. Which she had written about Hurricane Katrina and kind of like the aftermath of people down in New Orleans, which is ironic because I was actually there during Hurricane Katrina.
Wow.
So I feel like that element of the song, like I was able to like kind of like put my own personal, feeling into the song, which is incredible.
Yeah, I was down in I went down to Katrina. My daughter went. and helped with a little bit of rebuilding. And I went down as part of my job to check things out, and it was really surreal. Particularly I think they put X's on the house if there were no bodies, I think, in the house, or they would write numbers on the house to alert people to things. So it was really just a tough situation. They've rebounded from it, but man, that's certainly a scar for the people from New Orleans of how that really, and they made adjustments, to some of their dam systems and what have you. Which basically got shut off when the electric shut off, and that led to the tremendous amount of flooding. Anyway, let's listen to the song. Hey, and when we come back from the song, I really want to talk about that group that you're part of. I think it's so unique, and I think it can have some lessons and some inspiration for the singer-songwriters that are listening to the podcast. Hey, everybody, check this out, and we'll be right back after the song.
They put another coat of paint on the old cathedral walls. You can still see a shadow of the waterline. The revelers in the corner ignore the cracks in the mortar. They're just looking for the second line. Wear the bravest faces like carnival masks and belly up for another round. If dying ain't an absolute, why not jump without a parachute? Don't worry about the long way down.
We are back with Robert Bock. Hey, Robert, thanks for sharing that song. It's really great to hear your take on that. And you know what I'm going to do is I want to listen to the original song. If you can send that to me, that would be great. I'd just like to see the dynamic between the two songs. But I'm really interested in that community group that you're with other musicians. So tell us a little bit about that and tell me how it's helped you or changed the way you approach music.
Yes, so the group is it's Big City Folk is the name of the community. It was started by my friend Niall Connolly back in 2007, where, it was just kind of like this umbrella of, different songwriters, getting together and, sharing original music at these song clubs. And it was kind of a way to, promote original music and create safe spaces for people to share and try out new songs. And I started with them, I want to say maybe 2012 or 13, I can't remember. But yeah, and it's definitely, I would say, improved my songwriting. It's both exciting and also scary, especially when you're going into a room with a lot of different songwriters, and there's always going to be a wide range when people get intimidated or
Right.
excited, and you're like, man, like especially when you're trying out something new that you haven't really shared with anybody, you're like, oh my gosh, are people going to like this or not? But it's definitely a safe space, and it's very welcoming and inviting. So it's definitely improved my songwriting, I would say, because you're kind of learning a lot of different styles and different ways how people
I've
create.
spoke to other artists, and it's really, I look at it as like almost like an experimental lab approach, where I've heard from artists who say, hey, you know what, I did this particular song and the audience really responded. And, several audiences responded to this particular song. And they use that as kind of saying, hey, this is something that I need to pull into my repertoire, bring it to the front burner, so to speak. The other thought I wanted to ask you about was, and this is back to that Rick Rubin book, because I was reading it I got back to reading again. I can't believe I'd put down books for a while. Yeah, reading is fundamental.
Reading's important.
But when you, and this is what I'm guilty of, I'll come up with something that's catchy and I'll put it down and I won't act on it. And, I got 1,000 recordings of stuff that I feel extremely guilty about. When something strikes you, do you kind of stick with it and work it through, or how does the process kind of work for you to hash out and give birth to a song?
I feel like, so when I get something that I really like, or that I'm excited about, I don't necessarily write it down. I kind of just let time pass, and then if it comes back to me, if it's something that that keeps coming back into my mind, that's sort of, I guess, my first, litmus test as to whether I'm excited about or whether it's something I want to keep. A lot of my writing happens, or my creativeness,
I've heard that. Yeah,
I guess, happens
I've heard that from other people.
when I'm driving
Yep.
to and from work, because I'm letting my mind kind of just wander. And that's when things will kind of hit me. And then throughout the day, if I'm oh yeah, I really like this.
That's your key.
And it
Key
keeps
that
coming
is
back to
maybe
me,
I got
then I
something
think
here
that's
that
sort
I
of,
need to flush out.
my way. And yeah, and then from there, and then I build on it, and then if from there, if it's still sticking around,
Right.
that's when
Right.
I'll start
Yeah, I
writing
hear
it
you.
down, because
I
I'm
hear you. That's great.
well, now I definitely don't
I
want
tell
it
you
to
this,
go away.
it's just amazing. You put some, really hard work into a song. I don't, the hours don't matter, but there's hours that are put into it, right? And then you've created something that is going to be a memory for somebody potentially, something that it could become the song track to somebody's
Hopefully.
life. Hey, this, when they hear it, they had a good time and they remember it. That's the hopeful aspect of it. But that kind of really lives on beyond the number of hours that you've ever put into it, which I think that's great about songwriters and people who've woodshedded their craft to really put it out there. You know, it's kind of eternal. You know, it's part of.
Yeah. Especially because, like, you're taking a risk, and it's like, you know, I'm sharing something with you that, you know, I don't know.
Right,
if,
but you know what?
You're
if
going
if
to
you're
even
free
care
enough to
about
say,
what it is.
hey, it's good enough that I like it, because you can't control what other people think or what other people digest. But if you can control, hey, you know what? This is a gift I'm putting out there, and you know, kind of push through it. I think that's a wonderful, you know, position to take as an artist, and I would encourage you just to keep doing it. You know, no matter what anybody says, you know, just keep, because you know what, not everybody
Thank
can
you.
do what you do. You know?
Thank you.
So it's, you know, especially when you're doing so much everything else, you know, and you find the time to bang out a few kids and work and and do podcasts late at night, right?
That's
So
where
tell
the
me-
songs come from.
Yep. So tell me, what do you got coming up this summer?
Yeah, that's where the
And
songs
where can
come from.
people find you on social media? And I encourage you, everybody. I can't wait to see you
Summer.
guys live. It's really been it's on my list. So tell me where you're going to be. And speaking
Oh
of,
yeah. Speaking of, we're doing an EP release show at
okay.
Alewife Brewing in Sunnyside, Queens on August 19th.
Oh yeah, had Delaney
our
on the
friends,
program.
the Bell Curves, Delaney Hafner, will be. They'll be opening up that night of music at 8:00, and then we're gonna follow them up. And the EP is out August 4th.
Great. Well,
So that
Robert,
should
I
be-
really want to thank you for your time. It
should
was
be a
really
fun
good. Again, congratulations on the new baby, and the two baby songs that you're putting out. So
Thank you so much. Thanks for
because
having me.
sometimes it's like giving birth. I really, really appreciate your time being here. Everybody, check out the Locksmiths. Take a look in the description below. You'll see all their social media links, and you're going to enjoy their music and have a good time when you go see the Locksmiths. So good to have you here. All right, be well. Take care.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate the time you spent with us. Please subscribe and comment and visit us at gigdestiny.com. Till next time, be generous with your joy, keep your spirits high, and let the music take you on a journey. Be well. Peace.